within the people there, he's kind of the almighty God of writers there, great guy, and he wrote with you on a update.
Yeah,
that was like I think the best stretch. And
you know what I like about
Hey,
What's up, man?
dude, I really gotta get a camera.
You gotta get a camera. You're killing me with this.
Gotta
thing.
get a camera. You're
It's just
killing me,
unfair.
Smalls. Do you wear that hat every day?
Just about. I hate my hair right now. So
Yeah?
then you
What
wear a
happened?
hat.
Did you get
I got a
crazy
haircut almost 2 months ago. And like the day I got it cut, I was like, I'm not sure this is great.
Jury's still out, but I think this sucks.
I think this might be a bad haircut. And then as it grew in, I was like, this might not be that bad. And then now that it's longer, it's like, oh no, I was right. This is a terrible haircut. And so now I have to wait until it's my turn to get a haircut though. That's like, I only drop $20 on a haircut like once every 3 or 4 months because I hate paying for haircuts. So
I'm with you. Actually, I love paying money for haircuts. I love haircuts.
yeah, I do not love them. Like I'm not a.
Do you go to they shave your neck like with a blade?
No, I never gone anywhere like that.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I don't.
Just the back, like around your ears and stuff. They use those straight blade. I like those
straight edges or whatever. I'm not a. I'm not a sensory guy. Like I don't like massages. I don't like a lot of the stuff that people like around barbershops and stuff. I don't really care for.
Huh. That's good. It saves you some money, but
I guess the haircut is always like a chore for me. I don't look forward to it at all.
It's like me and getting gas. I hate getting gas.
Oh, really? See, I don't mind getting gas, but
I hate getting gas.
That's weird, man.
That's one of the worst things. I don't know. Sometimes it just drives me nuts. I miss Jersey. When Jersey, they pump the gas for you.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
That is kind of cool. That's crazy, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Actually, yeah, I'm doing B+, B-. I was, for some reason, some weeks it's rough. It's rough being a solo pastor. And this week was one of those. It was just, you just kind of feel like the weight of the world.
I'm sorry, man. That sucks.
That's all right. But
I woke up this morning and thought, man, I'm lazy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just had this like epiphany in the middle of the night sometime. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of a lazy person.
Huh.
And I got thinking about it. I was like, I think I've been lazy for a long time. Like, it's not like new.
I think that's a lie. You're not a lazy person.
I know you keep telling me that, but I think you're wrong about that. I think I really am lazy.
No, I don't think you are. I think you do more than most. You stay up late and do these services.
Well, that's true.
And you move around and you do stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. But
I woke up
feel
at
really
4
lazy.
today. This is the first time this has ever happened. I had some kind of crazy dream, and I flung my arms out and knocked over my water on my nightstand. At 4 a.m, I'm like, "Wah!" Water flies everywhere, and Billy was like, "What's going on? What's going on?"
Are there clowns outside? What's happening?
I don't know what happened. It was crazy.
So I don't know what's going on. I had like 2 or 3 of the weirdest dreams I've ever had. I had one, and I almost made my top 5, and I was like, I can't put this in there because I think it would make Abby too mad. But I had a dream where I was just infuriated with her. Like, I was so angry at my wife in this dream. I'm just dropping F-bombs left and right, and she's swearing at me left and right, and it's like, and then partway through the dream, I went from, why am I mad at her? This is my fault. And then I get mad at myself. And then I've never been happier to wake up and be in my own bed. It was like, man, that was frustrating.
I've had those where I'm like, somebody's angry at me. Usually it is Malia. And then I wake and I get in the dream. And then I wake up and it kind of ruins the beginning of the day. You're like, what the heck? Why are you mad at me? Anyway.
Yeah. I've definitely had it the other way where Abby's woken up mad at me about something I did in her dream. What am I supposed to do about that? I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's a dream.
You're a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It almost made my top 5 too. Just the flip side of like kind of being bummed about being this solo pastor out in the middle of nowhere is you get honored. It is an honor.
Yeah.
To get a front row seat to something no one else gets to see, especially in this small town. Like, it just feels like nobody knows. Nobody. You feel like you're the only one. So I think that's why it's the double-edged sword. Like you feel like you're the only one. So you're like the lone. You're like the lone
that's
wolf.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but I gotta realize, God sees. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to view it, right? Like that.
That's the way to get it off my shoulders.
Yeah.
But it's so. Yeah. It's a trick too, though. You know.
I hear you.
All right, you ready to start? Am I going first?
You get to go first because it's episode 27.
Whatever day it is, yeah. It's 5 best, and this is my name is Jason. My buddy Greg, he sets this thing up. We're both pastors. I'm a pastor up here in Muskegon, Michigan. He's a pastor down there in San Antonio, Texas, and we met because we were doing ministry together in San Antonio about a decade ago, and then we've just taken this opportunity to get back connected. And we check in once a week and we just tell each other 5 best things or 5 things that happened to us, and not necessarily in any order and not necessarily best. I've noticed that a couple times it's just creeped in huge things that are horrible, but that we couldn't ignore. But I'm going to start one off with a best.
Hey, let me at least say hi. I didn't even get to say hi.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You're excited. I like that.
Woo!
Jason's ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
But I do want to say hi, and I also want to remind everybody, if you
That's
enjoy
his
this
voice.
podcast,
His voice sounds like that.
if you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe and rate us on iTunes or wherever it is you get the podcast from, and that makes it easier for other people to find. I think based on conversations, Jason, it seems like people are listening to it and enjoying it, and I keep getting people telling me different things, different places. So I think people are hearing it, but I can't figure out how to get the numbers accurate. So,
Okay.
so I have no idea how many people that actually is.
Are we number 393 yet, or 293, or?
Every time I think we get close, I think iTunes changes up their counting. So I'm not sure. And we had like a 2-week layoff. So, 2 or month layoff or whatever it was. We had some
That's
technical
funny.
difficulties for about a month. So.
Maybe can you string those couple of fragments together?
I could, but they make no sense.
And the real thing is, hey, I hate.
A lot like
All
that.
right, there you go. 5 best. Number 1, my first one is I went to the Michigan versus Wisconsin game.
Man.
On Saturday, and that it was just this big game. Michigan is the biggest stadium in the country, and they're the most winningest, and they have all these national championships. The more, I've been to a couple college football games. I went to an A&M game, and I went to a UT game.
Yeah.
And you can't help but rank. My UT was my favorite experience. For some reason, I love the horns. I love like all that stuff. And this Michigan-Wisconsin game was probably tied for second, because College Station, this place is ridiculous. I love those College Station kids. And this place just so ginormous. And the one thing that maybe makes it a little better than the A&M game is James Earl Jones graduated from Michigan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that. Darth Vader is the voice of Michigan. It's just like the number 1 team in the world. Like it's got as the guys are coming out, and they were pretty good seats. It was just good. It made me think, man, I'm kind of jealous of Greg still. Just that college energy. That college energy is a different energy than everything else. It's set apart. It's such a unique passion and power and enthusiasm, and it's lack of responsibility with tons of freedom.
Yeah.
And figuring out the question asking side of it. It was just really cool to be, because 110,000 people fit in this place. So, and it's a majority of a lot of them there's some students and there's some old people, but it feels like the loudest people are all the students, but it was just cool to be back amongst some, like with that amount of passion and drive. It feels like you could change anything.
Right? Yeah,
You
that's
could take
that's
over
a
anything.
great description. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it feels like. And I was sitting on the other side of that. I watched that game start to finish. I'm a diehard Wisconsin fan, so that was a frustrating game to watch because there was like no offense at all in that game.
Zero.
And
It was,
no kicking.
yeah, it was interesting because what I think if it would have been a close game, it probably would have rivaled my UT experience.
Yeah.
But the only time I really felt any passion was when we scored that second touchdown, or when the guy went for it. And I liked University of Wisconsin. P.S. If it was a battle of the bands, your marching band,
they're really good.
Hands down, crushed it. It was killer. That was I felt honored to be in the same room as those guys. And then our kicker kept missing. Michigan. That was kind of sad. So there was no.
But he was so bad, and then they put in their backup, and then he missed too.
Yeah,
like,
and so there was really no steam and none of that college.
Yeah, no momentum.
Most of the game.
Yeah,
and then they made that catch in the end zone. That Pepper guy made a catch or something. That was ridiculous. And it's funny that interception. That's textbook like college enthusiasm without thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought at the time. All we're gonna do is praise how amazing that catch is. So the context, it's 4th and 8 from Wisconsin's like 4-yard line.
Yeah.
So they throw it like 50 yards down the field, and the guy goes up and makes this ridiculously athletic one-handed interception, and everybody goes nuts. And the announcers go nuts, and everybody keeps showing the highlight. And I keep thinking to myself, just drop the ball.
Yeah, everybody in the stands was like, what like, wow, that was crazy. But why did he do that?
Why did he do it? Yeah. It's not a smart play.
And he's walking off the field going, woo, woo. It was awesome. Anyway, that was funny, but that was textbook.
It would have been perfect if the running back would have fumbled the next handoff. Yeah. And then Wisconsin would have got it at the 50, and it'd be like, oh wait, maybe that was a bad interception.
All right, there's my number one. We can drag on this.
No, that's a good one. I love it, and I love your enthusiasm about college campuses too. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so I randomly, I really remember. I remember a sermon you gave after going to the UT game.
Oh yeah,
you gave a sermon about how much we're called to love, and we're called to be like amazing at loving each other, in the same way that Colt McCoy is called to be amazing at being a quarterback.
Yeah. It's a stretch.
It was good. It was good.
There's a line there, there's a little string that connects
some sort of connector. Yeah. But I remember that one. So there you go. Yeah. All right. My number one, there is a quote this week again that I wanted to share with you that I thought was kind of interesting. And so here's it's a guy, a theologian, narrator, like writer named Hans Fry. And he says, the point that I want to return to when we come to the book of Job is that no serious religion ever tries to answer anybody's questions. Because in any serious or existential matter, the progress in understanding is a progress through a sequence of formulating better questions. An authoritative answer blocks off progress. It blocks off all advance. The answer consolidates the assumptions in the question and brings the process to a dead stop. I thought that was an interesting.
I love that.
Yeah, and I feel like really pastorally, there's something really important there for us, right?
Where did you find that?
It's just a guy named Hans Fry. I'm trying to remember which book it's in. I'll send you the quote later.
Oh, that'd be awesome, because that's actually at the heart of my. That's the heart of my sermon this Sunday. I'm going through Ezekiel, and right now I'm at Ezekiel chapter 33, and I'm doing like when God calls him the watchman.
Yeah.
And Leslie Allen, I'll read a quote from this. It says, this is Leslie Allen's take on this section of scripture. He says, the two halves of verses 1 through 20 reflect two separate messages concluded with divine disputations and subsequently united with the help of their common word and the shub, my Hebrew's bad, but I think it's shub, return, give up. And he's talking about how the prophet is fighting on two pastoral fronts. On the one hand, he has to counter despair and demoralization amongst the exiles. On the other, he has to do it in such a way as to encourage moral indifference and a false sense of security. So the walls are falling down in Jerusalem, and it's all heck is breaking loose. And Ezekiel is basically, he answers, he has this hypothetical question, and he answers the question of, is it ever too late to come back
Right.
to God? And the answer is a question. You know, do you want to repent? Do you want to give up? That's the word. Do you want to turn? That it's so cool that in Hebrew, the word shub it means give up and return. It means turn and anyway. I just heard in your little quote just that I love that aspect of our faith, of when the questions rise, the deeper questions get unveiled, like they become revealed. Like, I love that. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think sometimes our impulse is to jump to answers.
Yeah.
And so to be able to sit with questions, and then I had you remember Derek Gonzalez. Derek Gonzalez and I would always have these questions. That's the Lord. That's right. And he would always ask me questions, and I'd always say, I'm not sure you're asking the right question. And then we would go and ask a different question, and then I would just keep doing that. And he goes, "You never just answer any of my questions." And this quote really reminded me of Derek Gonzalez, but I think there is an element, and I think even Jesus, like we're reading through the Gospel of John, and the amount of time somebody comes to him with questions and he responds with more questions.
Yeah.
He's just almost never like, here's a straightforward answer. Now, Jesus happens to be the answer, which is a whole different thing, but there is that element of our faith that's important, that we don't tire of questions.
And that's that's why it sounded so excited. I'm finding that to be true where in Ezekiel, where I had never seen that before. It's really, it's a cool thing that this guy, this quote of yours is just pointing to something that I think a lot of us miss. I think we miss it a lot. I think because I was just in a counseling session. I was just counseling a congregant, and she has a niece that has been given 3 months to live. And her first response was, I'm so sorry. And then she was talking to me and she said, that's just so inadequate. I have no idea what I'm supposed to say to my niece. And I said, actually, that's exactly right. Just you nailed it right on the head. That you're to be, you be with them, and it's counterintuitive. Like, we want to do stuff, and we want to answer the questions. We want to we want to be the problem solvers. And I think that's one of my favorite attributes of you is just there's a humility and a meekness to just sidestep. And there's a little arrogance too.
I was like, wait a second. Yeah, meekness does not sound right. Like, I'm gonna play this for some other people, and they're gonna call BS on that.
No, but it is. I do ask the right questions more than not, and I think that's an attribute to be put on a pedestal. I think that's something that's really good about you, and I think that's really something that I have learned to do better and better just by being more around you. I think that quote that quote is a really strong suit of yours.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're welcome. I've seen myself getting better and better at it because it's such, isn't it? It's like I'm reminded of I had a physics professor in high school who was a scuba diver. Going to the ocean and not going in and looking around is like going to the opening of a museum and not going in. You're just missing so much. it just reminds me, like when we go and we gloss over things and answer things.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Quickly. We miss so much richness, so much depth, so much meaning, so much messiness. But with the messiness becomes like a 3D versus a 2-dimensional deal.
Yeah, you know where I think we're the worst at this, or maybe not we. I shouldn't throw you under the bus here, but
No, you're usually right.
for
Usually
sure
right,
me.
right in front of you.
For sure me. For sure, one of the areas I'm the worst at this is parenting. Like our impulse is just give an answer and move on because we're so tired, or it's so hard to questioning and allowing questions and then driving more questions takes so much more energy and attention from us than just quickly shutting it off with an answer.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's one for me. I try to be mindful of, but man, that's tough.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's that shows itself to me when my son acts, and I can see myself in it. I'm like, that's not true, but that's exactly how I would say it.
Yeah. Go talk to your mom.
Live as though it's true.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fantastic. All right, what's your number 2?
My 2 was SNL. You throw a dart at SNL just this last weekend and hit success. I thought it was phenomenal. I'm glad they're back. I feel like the last couple seasons have been okay, but something about that anniversary thing that came up, I think last year, and then there's just something in the water. So it's just, I think they have a better cast than usual. They kicked it off with
part of it's an election cycle. They're always an election cycle.
Yeah. That you're probably right, but that first sketch was probably my favorite. The first 2 sketches.
I thought the second sketch was fantastic. The sinkhole sketch.
The sinkhole was hands down that's the hardest I've laughed in a while.
That was funny.
And then the follow up, because they're playing off how beautiful she is. Yeah. And then she like demoralizes herself and whatever. My one critique is I don't like the Weeknd, that musician, that guy.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't love the Weeknd either, but whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, so I do think it was funny you bring this up because
everything he's good is he's stolen from Michael Jackson. That's true.
That's a fair point.
He should pay the Jackson family.
He does sound a lot like Michael Jackson at times, though.
Doesn't he?
Oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah. Except he can't dance.
So so outside of the Weeknd, because I'm not gonna get into that.
Okay.
That's not my area of specialty.
The
However,
update.
I love Michael Che is one of my favorite comedians. One of the hosts of the Weekend Update. But can you imagine being so beautiful that in order to counteract it, SNL has to run 2 straight sketches about how much more beautiful you are than the rest of the people on the cast?
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's insane. Like that's like these are all people who are on television all the time, and this lady comes in and is so much better looking than those people that they look in the room and say, "Oh, this is obvious. We've got to do something about this. We've got to make fun of how much better looking she is." Yeah, she's so much better looking than we are. That's crazy to me. Like that's insane.
It was insane. It is insane.
But both of those sketches, the sinkhole and the librarian, I thought were really well executed sketches.
I do too.
Really,
and I thought them. It seems like it seemed like it had direction. That's what. It was the first time I've ever. You're pointing at something. It's the first time I think I've ever noticed SNL do it. I think they did intentionally draw out how beautiful she was. And do a sketch about how that can be deceptive. Those are the first 2 ones, and I think it set the stage for a good. That was one heck of an opening for a season of SNL.
Yeah, it was. The season premiere is always hit or miss. Like it's not always super strong because you have all summer to come up with ideas, and it's hard to wade through the best ones. I think I always think so. They have this like weird schedule where they have like 2 or 3 on, 1 or 2 off, 2 or 3 on. I always think that second one is the money episode usually, because it's you've gone through your crazy ideas from the summer and you're not ready for a break yet, so you're kind of like at your high point. The last one before a break is always really sketchy because it's like, oh man, they're just throwing stuff at a wall and they're just about out of ideas. But I think that second one is usually pretty awesome. I love that one. SNL was great this week. I agree. I'm with you.
Hit me. What's your 2?
All right, my number 2 is I'll go TV show also because you went TV show. My number 2 is the new HBO show Westworld.
Is it any good?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
It's worth watching. I was waiting for you to look at it before.
Yeah, and I watched the first episode because there's only one episode out, and I almost turned around and watched it again. Like it was like I finished it and I was like, man, I almost need to look at that again because it's visually like it's really stunning. Like it's got all this like old Western kind of landscape stuff.
Yeah.
If you have not seen previews for it or don't know about it, you should see previews for it. But basically, it's like The Matrix meets the Old West meets Truman Show meets, like it's got all these devices that we're used to. What's the Harrison Ford movie? Blade Runner. Yeah, it meets Blade Runner. That's like it's got all of that stuff going on all at the same time, and you just don't know. Oh, and Groundhog's Day, that was the other one. And you just don't know. It's true. Like,
that's the one that gets me.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it takes a little while to get your feet underneath you, and then as soon as you do, they kind of change it again. So it's really fascinating. Like there's a ton of stuff to unpack in it, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it going forward because there's so much stuff to it. So one of the things that's amazing on the show, though, is the story's based on a story by Michael Crichton, the guy who did Jurassic Park and ER and all these shows. But he never wrote the story. Like he wrote a short story of it or just quick outline this idea, and then somebody else turned it into this. But it's fascinating. It's a really interesting. Philosophically, it's going to be a really fun show to watch and see what they do with it. Yeah.
I read a little about it, even though I was kind of, my wife has a category called Never Watch.
Yeah.
It's totally subjective. And
that's fair.
It's playing the wrong, if it's playing the wrong theme song, like wrong note, or somebody looks weird, she said that's a Never Watch. So this fell into that category, Never Watch. So I'll be watching it by myself.
Yeah.
But I knew you'd be watching it. So I was thinking, man, if it's good, I'm going to hear about it. So I'll go.
I've been looking forward to it, and I read a little about it.
I guess they've done it before.
Oh, really?
But I don't know what that first one looked like. But the first one, the robots are the bad people, and in this one, the humans are. Yeah,
it's not anywhere near that clear cut. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what because there's all kinds of people involved. Nolan's involved, right? And
yeah,
there's all kinds.
It's crazy.
Somehow involved.
Yeah, JJ. Yeah, it's nuts.
I'm glad that you recommend it. I'll go watch it.
And it looks amazing. Like on top of everything else, that's why I'm kind of surprised your wife has ruled it out already. Unless the previews just matter for whatever reason. But
if it's a slightly creepy, she's like anti
it's that
horror, creepy. So she's.
Yeah, Anthony,
she has rough times.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen The Fastest Indian? That's a good book or a good movie.
Yeah, a long time ago though, right?
Yeah, it was a long way. But Anthony Hopkins plays that guy that drove the Indian, that motorcycle, the fastest. It's so cool. Anyway, I like that movie. My number 3.
Yeah.
I mentioned several weeks ago.
Oh boy.
That I saw Blink 182 on some late night show.
Yeah.
And they're missing one of their guys, and I was just angry.
Yeah.
I was just angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a confession that I'm always willing and open to learn. So I checked out the CD from the library.
All right.
Because it's not worth paying for.
No, you already knew that.
It's really good. I don't know if you like punk, if you like that punk pop, that stuff that, like Green Day
Yeah.
and like No Effects, Blink 182. It's probably Blink 182's best album.
What?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It has a lot to do with California because the name of the album is California. And Los Angeles. If you have zero amount of time, just listen to Los Angeles. That song's really good. But so it's my number 3, just because it's really good, and I'm kind of eating crow or whatever. I'm just saying sorry I yelled at you guys because you dropped that that one of your punks. But it's also a question. Where do you put in your category, albums that are really good from musicians when they're live stink?
Oh yeah.
Like what? Because
Yeah, and the reverse of that's really interesting too. But I see. So this is where
they're
you and
horrible
I are
live bands,
radically different.
but they're great. They're great musicians, like that Frank Ocean. Do you remember that Frank Ocean? He tanked on that MTV thing, and then I listened to
pretty
his
good
album.
live, or pretty good on the album.
The album's ridiculous. I don't know what because they can play with it. They can.
Here's my problem.
What's your take?
Tell me every single band ever to me. I hate live music.
That's the same with my wife.
Yeah, there's no real advantage to live music.
Nemesis, but I love that. I love it.
There's no
I love when we
so,
find connection points.
So there's no real advantage to live music for me. Like I don't love music more in person than I do on, like, I love the way it sounds on the album, or I don't love it. And so
wow.
Yeah, sorry, man.
My heart just skipped a couple beats, but
I know. Well, listen, while we're breaking hearts, I have some other bad news for you. I spent the week trying to listen to Nebraska. It's terrible.
Yeah,
I can't listen to it at all. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I really am. Like, dude, if we were doing a podcast called 5 Worst, it would have made that, because it was awful.
I can't believe that. I guess it's just Bruce fans and not.
Yeah, every single song sounds exactly the same on that album. I had to go check to make sure I was on a different
listen to
track.
The story. The one about him. Oh, I love that. That's crazy. It's kind of crazy because one of my buddies, a girl named Sabrina Perzada, she posted online. She met him, and she got him to sign the new book. And she has a picture with him on online. So I shout out to Sabrina. I think she listens to this. So
that's cool. Way to go, Sabrina.
Shout out, Sabrina. Anyway,
well, I apologize, Sabrina,
but she
for
doesn't.
Not liking.
She doesn't like. And
the problem
it's
is
another place where we can.
Like, I've heard him enough, and I've seen him on interviews, and I enjoy some of his stuff enough. But your take that I need to really listen to Nebraska, I couldn't do it, man. I went through it once and was like ready to go jump off a bridge, and so then
State Trooper. I love so many tracks on
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Man. I tried.
Gosh. Try the Ghost of Tom Joad now.
Oh yeah. Oh man. All right.
It's funny because I just burnt you a copy of Nebraska and I was gonna mail it to you, but you know what?
Just save the postage, bro. Save the postage.
Okay. I'll keep it in the player. But if
I
you
have
like
access to that one, and it's terrible. So
okay, try the Ghost of Tom Joad next.
Tom Joad.
Yeah, the Ghost of Tom Joad. It was made famous because Rage Against the Machine covered that song.
Yeah, any song that's more famous because it was covered always makes me nervous, by the way. But
which happens a lot with Bruce.
Yeah, because he's not any good.
No, he's
that's
amazing.
What we're discovering. No, that's
his first number one was that band that Wrapped Up Like a Douche, another runner in the night.
Yeah,
blinded. I know. And it was made number one by some other band. I forget the name of that band.
Yeah.
Maybe Doobie Brothers. Anyway, so your take is you just like albums. You don't like live music. Okay.
I don't get like a jump in live music. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, these guys are way better live. I don't understand that. I don't know music enough to get what I'm watching live. And like the only thing I know to
even if you're there,
even if I'm there, even if I'm there, and the only I can't understand, and this is where Malia and I are similar. I don't get people spending money to go to concerts. It makes no sense to me. It's just like this enormous waste of money.
Man, you're a commie.
I'm terrible. Listen, I will happily
I
admit that
love
this
you.
is a fault.
I love you so
I'm
much.
sorry, dude. I really do. Like I know, and like this is one of the reasons this works because you're so wired into that stuff, and I don't get it at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
But I'm
Okay. Well,
I'm super boring, man. That's the other part. Like there's
That's not true
there's
at
no
all.
getting around that.
Hit me with your number 3.
All right, so you can make fun of it. That's what I hold on. Let me. Let's see. All right, so my number
But dude,
3.
check out Blink-182. Listen to that, Los Angeles.
Yeah, so my number 3 is really shallow.
You're not gonna listen.
I'm
to
not gonna listen to it. I was gonna tell you though. I have a buddy. Like I love. Like so. First off, I do enjoy punk music. I don't enjoy that genre of punk music as much, but that's fine. But I have a buddy.
Where does your little brother fall?
He doesn't listen to punk music that much. That's not hard enough for him.
He's hardcore. Yeah, he's a hardcore guy.
Yeah, he goes further than that. So I do have a friend in town who's a huge Blink-182 fan, though, like a massive. Like I think he may have a tattoo of Blink-182 somewhere on his person, and he lets you know
Extra
right
points
away.
if it's on his face.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. But I was talking to that album came out, and he was really excited for it. He went and saw him at the AT&T Center when they came through town, and he was not happy with that album at all. His response, he said the album was kind of like that, and I was like, all right, well, fair enough.
I dig the album. I don't like them live.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I'm with you. All right. All right, my third one is pretty shallow, but every year on my birthday, I get a video game basically, but the video game doesn't come out on my birthday; it comes out later, so that I get this like receipt or this like prepaid coupon or something. So anyway, I get FIFA like whatever the new year of that soccer video game is, and so this year it's FIFA 17 because it's always like a year ahead. Anyway, that came out last week, so I was able to finally get it, and that's pretty awesome. So I got it last week. I've been playing it with my kids and messing around with it. And anyway, there's nothing to it other than I got a new video game. I'm really excited about it. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty lame, but
sports video games are categorically cool. I like them. I think some people hate them. I love it. That's funny. Did I already tell you that I've been playing my old Nintendo?
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we were living in Jersey, we found out they do these things called bulk pickup, where people we were living in a richer neighborhood, so twice a year people would just redecorate their houses and they put everything out on the side of the road, and we'd pick up furniture and pick up. But anyway, I picked up a Nintendo, like a legit old Nintendo, and it had Super Mario Brothers in it, and so that's where it's in it. And so I hooked that up to the basement and TV. And Elsie, my little Elsie, has been loving Super Mario Brothers. So we've been playing Super Mario Brothers together.
That's awesome.
So that's a cool shallow one. But there's something special about getting all your work done at the office, or getting all your calls in, and then going to pick up your kid from school, and then kind of racing home and playing some video games.
That is pretty cool. I'm with you.
Awesome. Eating a couple Doritos, maybe.
I love. It's really the only thing in my life I do where my brain isn't going kind of all the time.
Yeah,
like I think
that's true.
Because even when I like watch TV shows or listen to music or whatever else, like my brain is still constantly moving. And when I play video games, I can like genuinely connect with the people in the room. I usually play with other people. Like my sons like to play the soccer game, so we usually play soccer together or against each other or whatever. So there's all of that stuff, and it's it is a little lame. And like my wife is always like, "Hey, you're almost 40, you're still playing video games," and it's like, all right, that's fair. But the short answer is yes, I am still playing video games. But we only have sports games. I only play sports games, but but I do love sports games for that reason. And there's some online features now where you can play with people across the country, so I can play with like my cousins and things like that. It's pretty nuts. That stuff is crazy.
What system do you have?
We have a PS4.
Oh,
sorry.
I have a PS3.
Yeah. So when you go up to PS4, we can play each other. There actually there are some games we can play each other in. One of them is called Rocket League. If you haven't got Zeke hooked on Rocket League yet, that's a blast. You would like Rocket League. It's basically.
And it's on PS3.
I think you can get it on just about anything. I think you can play it on computer too. but it's like an inter-platform game, so you can play. Everybody can play each other regardless of what kind of system you have.
Oh, cool.
But it's
I'll look into it. Let me write that down.
Yeah, write down Rocket League.
Right when I got it, I got one of those headset things because I was gonna play with my brother-in-law, but he never got a PS3. So
yeah, well, that didn't work. Then that's pretty cool. Though.
What's the name of your thing? Rocket League.
Rocket League, and basically what it is, Rocket League is like it's soccer with remote control cars. So it's like 4 remote control cars against 4 remote control cars and like this huge ball, and you're in these like Thunderdome kind of things, and it's just try to score goals and blow up other cars. It's pretty cool. It sounds absurd, but it's fun.
It does sound absurd.
Get set up on it and get rolling on it, and then we'll set up a time to try to play together. I'm terrible at it, but my kid's really good at it. So once your kid gets good at it, then
they'll play together. That's fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
What's that thing? Oh, okay. Hey, my number 4.
Yeah.
In the Rolling Stone magazine, issue 1270, September 22nd, 2016, Green Day on the cover. There's an article about this architect. His name is Ingalls. What's his first name? I don't even know his first name. But he's this amazing architect. He started somewhere in Europe, and he's blowing up. He did like the Freedom Towers. He's doing the one of the football stadiums, and he's Washington Redskins. He's putting a moat around it instead of a wall, so you can kayak and canoe and stuff like that. Yeah, he has a building in New York City that looks like a sailboat.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. From a certain angle, right?
He's like up. He's up and coming, and he's arrived. He's totally into puns, and he's kind of crazy. Yeah. It's a really interesting article, so I highly recommend just reading the article. But the quote from it that really kind of stood out to me is he's really into this. He says this: instead of trying to change people, change the world. And it reminds me of, I don't know what it reminds. It reminds me of. It reminds me of that Kavanaugh guy, or the Desiring the Kingdom guy, of just doing things that affect your soul. You know, remember, like he says, you know, like you become a follower of Jesus by following Jesus. You know, like you do. He's high church. I don't think it was Kavanaugh. Who was the Desiring the Kingdom guy? Smith, yes, that's the book I'm thinking of. I studied that with a group of pastors back when I was in Cali, but it just reminds me of that simple shift of the way you look at things, and what you see as a goal changes everything. You know what I mean? Whereas the Smith guy's saying, just go about your faith. You know, go to communion. Yeah. Once a week. Do your daily mass, you know, like get in there and start doing it, and then that'll change your soul. He's seeing, like, instead of trying to change individuals, let's make it, because right now he's like, the point he's making is that all these people are consuming all this stuff, and we're kind of ruining our planet. Yeah. And he's saying we need to change it so that what the world has to offer isn't detrimental to the world. You know, like he's attacking it instead of individually trying to change everybody's mind. He's saying, let's build a building that you're not hurting the earth by entering it. You know, like, I don't know. I like just revolutionary thinkers, and I like that he's on the forefront of all this stuff. He's working with SpaceX. That's cool, and they're trying to build that tunnel that goes from San Francisco to LA in 30 minutes or 70 minutes or something, like goes 700 miles an hour or something like that. Loop or whatever. It's crazy. Yeah. And he's working on that with that Elon Musk guy. And so he's a mover and a shaker. And I like that it all boils down to what he set his sights on, you know what I mean? And I like that it reminded me of that Smith guy. I like that it's when brilliance shows itself.
Yeah.
There's a commonality to it. You know what I mean? It's always like something that's obvious but unstated.
Yeah, and it's
the
recognizable
person
almost
states
immediately,
it,
right?
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
what.
I love that one. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude's
So
stuff
I
is
highly
amazing.
recommend the article.
Yeah. I'll look that. I have that one. I just haven't read it, so that's a good call.
Yeah.
All right, my fourth one.
All right.
Wait, no, right. That was your fourth one.
That was my fourth.
Yeah,
Ingalls.
this is my fourth one now.
And the article is called "The Man Who Is Building the Future."
The Man Who Is Building the Future.
Keep going. Sorry.
All right, no,
I
that's
didn't
good.
mean
That's
to cut
good. Oh boy, yeah, right. So my fourth one is an article that just came out. I'm trying to pull up the exact spot so you can find it. It's called Christ's Rabble, which is. Do you have your headphones on really loud?
Maybe.
Okay.
Why?
I'm just hearing an echo.
Can you
in
hear
my-
yourself?
Yeah,
Okay. Maybe I'll move back. How does that sound?
that sounds all right. Yeah, I don't know. It was just that was the first time it had happened. There's a theologian, New Testament scholar named David Bentley Hart, and so
Okay.
he wrote this article for Commonweal magazine, and
Okay.
it's basically it's a really sort of scathing review of the New Testament's view on wealth, and it's a tough read, man.
What's
Like-
the name of the article again?
The name of the article is Christ's Rabble.
Christ's Rabble.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the subtitle is "The First Christians Were Not Like Us." And
Amen. That's true.
his basic thesis is if we had the chance to meet first century Christians, they would hate us.
Yeah.
And we would probably not like them very much. Because they're very much anti-wealth and possessions and things like that. And so it's just really it's don't read it unless you really want to be convicted about stuff.
Yeah.
And then don't read it unless you really actually want to know what the New Testament says about money. Because we tend to soft pedal the New Testament's teaching on money for all sorts of reasons, but some of them are unintentional and we just don't know better. But that excuse goes away after you read this article.
That's excellent. You know that you're just saying that this is the first context I've ever done ministry where that isn't the primary sin.
Huh.
You know, that's
That's
one
a
of
good
the
point. Yeah.
that's one of the most refreshing parts about working up here in the small town of Muskegon. That I mean, I guarantee you, I'm going to read it and
Still find stuff wrong. Yeah.
and there's still conviction. But I've been primarily up to this point been called to, as one of my predecessors, Rich would always say, I'm called to the up and in rather than the down and out.
Yeah.
And that's all. He's so good at those little. Did you hear he's going to Peachtree?
No, I don't even know what that means.
That's the biggest Presbyterian church in the country. He worked at, it's crazy. Anyway, Conwisher is now the head pastor of Peachtree, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. Anyway,
I told that guy once his dissertation made no sense. So.
yeah. And how is that not consumerism? That's what you said to him. Anyway, we won't get off. But
Yeah, that's gonna be trouble.
I'll get back to my main point of that's neat. That's a cool, refreshing truth that I'm living in. That's a one plus to my right now that I don't praise God enough for. I think, but that's cool. But I still struggle with it, and it brings up when I think I've mentioned this before, but I saw Mike Frost at some Presbyterian conference, and he said, if Jesus were alive today, he would not be friends with you.
Yeah.
He was with the rabble rousers. He was with.
He wouldn't go to your church, right?
Yeah, he wouldn't go to your church, and he wouldn't be speaking to you. He wouldn't like, it was crazy. Yeah. Most of his audiences were not like us, So it's a similar point, but I'm looking forward to read it. I love that you read. I love that you're this is how I quickly describe Greg. He's a smarter version of me.
And he doesn't like live music. That's it.
Picture me that thinking. Rather than just reacting.
Well, I tell people this is my much cooler friend Jason, who actually loves people. So that's yeah.
He actually loves me. That's a high compliment. All right.
Yeah.
Enough of this reading stuff. My
Yeah.
last one is, and I only put 4 in there just to prove that I have been reading. Okay. But actually, I haven't been reading very much, just because I've been preaching and doing all these. I got to do a memorial service this Sunday, and we're doing this.
Oh man.
Saturday, yeah, doing all this visioning stuff, and so I've been kind of busy and that kind of jazz. But in the midst of it, the fresh breath of music and stuff kind of come in, and on Tuesday, I think it was, or Monday, I don't know. One of the days I got the newest Rolling Stone magazine, and I found out that Zach De La Rocha just came out with a single.
Oh really?
And so then, yeah, and so I listened to it, and it's not that good. You know, don't put yourself up to the. You're like, but it's still, it brought back. You know, it's so, and I think this comes up every once in a while, of just music's like mystical ability to bring you to a plane where time, space, it isn't relevant. You know, like I was automatically brought back to simultaneously driving down 17th Street in Newport Beach, driving down the 410 loop in San Antonio. I was driving down Springfield in Summit, New Jersey. I was all at once just listening to Rage. You know, the fact that Zach De La Rocha has the ability to pen lyrics that kind of they speak. It's almost like if instead of the Psalms being total lament, just total rage, total speaking out against injustice.
Oh, that's so funny. The irony of this whole story is I never grew up listening to Rage, so I never really got into them all the way.
Yeah.
And the one time I can distinctly place myself hearing Rage Against the Machine is in your Volkswagen driving to the Conwishers' house.
It all comes full circle. Oh, with the shotgun.
Full circle, man. How about that?
Yeah,
That's so crazy.
That is crazy. But I give the song like a B+, just because he's without Tony Morello, which is he's the best. You know, he's a phenomenal guitarist. You know, so but just his voice is enough to springboard you back to. I don't know. It's
that part's really cool, right?
It's really, really neat. I just take a listen and just see it. Yeah, but you didn't really get into Rage. I'm sure I bet it would be like you and Bill Maloney or Mahoney?
Bill Maloney. Yeah,
Melanie. That's it. Melanie, you're putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Bill Maloney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. I and it'll come up. It'll keep coming up. I love that about music. I love that. Yeah. What a gift that God has given. I don't know. Where would you? It's hard to rank gifts of God.
Yeah,
but I think music is really close to redemption.
It's high up there for sure, right?
High to redemption and creation and music are on my top 3.
I have air conditioning higher than you do, but
that's really funny. That's another point you and my wife were really going
we're
together.
Very similar that way. Yeah. All right. My 5th one is I mentioned last time that I had a bunch of birthdays in my house because that was kind of we have that week-long or 2-week-long stretch where we have birthdays.
Yeah.
And a couple of weeks ago, you sent me just a quick text that said, "Hey, I'm preaching on something. Give me a good Wendell Berry poem."
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was fun because it kind of sent me
It was
down the
Ezekiel, and he's talking about of the earth. And
and I don't know what you ended up using, if you ended up using any of the ones I recommended or not, but I just like I got kind of down the rabbit trail of Wendell Berry poems. And one of the ones I recommended to you, I think I might not have it might not have worked or whatever, but he's got a poem called Like the Water. And as I was reading it and thinking about it and praying about it, and like once I read it, it just sort of like sometimes poems just kind of catch you.
I love those.
Yeah. And as I so the poem goes like this: like the water of a deep stream, love is always too much. We did not make it, though we drink till we burst. We cannot have it all or want it all. In its abundance, it survives our thirst. In the evening, we come down to the shore to drink our fill and sleep. While it flows through the regions of the dark, it does not hold us, except we keep returning to its rich waters thirsty. We enter willing to die into the commonwealth of its joy.
Gosh.
And so it's a brilliant poem. And like,
what's the name of the poem?
It's called Like the Water.
The water.
And it's like, and I love the poem just on the surface of what it's about and all of that stuff too. But then as I was thinking about my wife and kind of celebrating her birthday, this poem encapsulates so much about what it means to be married and married to her specifically for me. But that's the idea that like the water of a deep stream, love is always too much. But we enter willing to die into the commonwealth of its joy. There's something about all of that imagery around water and marriage that is really cool. And I think in particular, my wife loves water so much. Your wife loves water too.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know, just thinking about that imagery of water and resting together. And I don't know, that's something about that sort of really caught me. And so, yeah, so my wife's birthday was one of my 5 best from the last week, and more so that she is my wife than that it was her birthday. But
dude, once again, if this was a battle of the 5 best, you win.
There we go. I'm out. Undefeated.
No, that's ridiculous. You did, yeah, and you texted me those, and I did look at Like the Water, and then there was another one I looked at, but I didn't because I was looking for a quote about how good it, because part of one of the themes of the Old Testament is and God will give you land,
yeah,
and you will be my people, and I will be your God,
yeah,
and I ended up finding a quote from that article that he named a book after a bunch of articles, and what it's of the earth or something like that.
Yeah,
the land, the goodness of the land or something like that.
Yeah.
So I ended up using a quote, but those he's such a good poet that even the novice, even the person that doesn't even like poetry,
right,
gets hooked. He takes all the work out. He's phenomenal. I really like that poem. And with every single time a challenge comes out of it, like I want to go home and love my wife more. I dig that. I dig that Wendell has that power of word that motivates the action, which is cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
he's ridiculous.
That's a good note to end on, man.
Yeah,
Like the water. Next week we might need to take a break. It's going to be because it's my mother-in-law's like 60th birthday or 60 something. She's going to be around in the area, so we might have to finagle. We'll work on maybe Tuesday or something.
Okay, yeah, just let me know. We'll try to figure out a time that works.
Yeah, sorry you have to cut that out probably. Yeah. And this week I'm going to do a lot of editing. This week I'll order a camera.
I'll believe it when I see you.
And they make them so they go in the USB thing?
Yeah.
Okay. It should be pretty easy, right?
Couldn't be easier.
Couldn't be easier. And this is like a year anniversary of moving up here.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Time's flying.
It's fun, man.
Muskie gone.
All right, brother.
All right, I'll talk to you.
All right.
See you next week.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.